to witness another important event from FACEYOUth. Every month, we devote one day to talk about the important things to our community. Today, we're going to talk about stress management, and we're going to hone in on a special population, our youths. Remember, FACEYOUth is all about youths. You see, there are a couple of things we can fix, and there are a couple of things we can't fix. We cannot fix adults, but we can fix our youth. So the reason why we show up every month for our mental health awareness seminars is to make sure we fix our youth the best way we can. Now, when we talk about stress management is pretty much what we do every day. The only time you will not manage stress is when you're gone. So every single person has some level of stress. But the question is it manageable stress? Is it tolerable stress? Is it toxic stress? Is it everyday stress? What do you do when you're stressing? If you are not stressing, you are not living. The reason why I'm talking to you guys today is because I'm stressing, but it's the positive stress. It's stress that will keep your heart beating. It's stress that will make you to breathe. It's stress that will make a newborn baby to cry. It's stress that will make you to have headache. It's stress that will make you to stay up and prepare for your studies. It's stress that will make you to prepare for your interviews. It's stress that will make you to meet that lady you want to talk to meet that guy you want to talk to start your family. They are all everyday stress. So we are all stressing. But what we're going to do today is to look at the broad spectrum of stress, honing in on toxic stress. How do you manage that fright, fight, flight reaction, which is the basic mechanism? So everybody is given a couple of chemicals in their body, which controls everything about you. So the reason why I'm talking to you guys today is because I'm in a cortisol zone. So I don't want to disappoint everybody. So I want to be at my best. So what's going to happen? My adrenaline is up. My blood pressure is up. My sugar level is up. I'm so energized. It's the positive stress. Now, if I begin to freak out and worry about things I can't control, my blood pressure is going to be extremely up. My blood sugar is going to be extremely up. Blood is going to keep rushing throughout my whole body. What's going to happen? I'll begin to have palpitations. I begin to have headaches. I begin to freak out. That's what we want to avoid. Now, unfortunately, we are living in an era of youths experimenting. If you're conversant with Africa, especially Nigeria, we have a drug epidemic problem. Let me tell you what happens. When you are stressing, what do you normally do? You want to take your coffee, you want to eat some food, you want to eat cake. But for our youths, when they are stressing, what would they do? They go to drugs. And those drugs are deadly. They are addictive. So we want to help our youth to actualize their potential so that at the end of the day, we can comfortably and conveniently say we've done our best. Our duty is to train our youth. Our duty is to help them, to guide them so that when they become adults, they can model what we are doing. But when they are adults, we can fix them. And we cannot medicalize stress management. So thank you for coming this afternoon. It's a big privilege. My name is Dr. Trudy, and I'm going to anchor today's event. We have two amazing presenters today to talk about stress management. The first presenter will be Priyanka, amazing presenter, vast in area of psychotherapy, vast in area of mental health. She's going to share her experience.
Doc, you're mute. I think somebody must have muted you in error.
Doctor, not able to hear you.
Okay. Can you guys all hear me now? Okay, good.
Yes, yes.
Okay, awesome. So please, I want everybody, once you come in, to feel at home. My name is Dr. Trudy Ufondo. I'm going to anchor today's event. And today we're going to learn practicable tips on how to be ahead of our stress. There is absolutely no way you can avoid stress. Once you wake up in the morning, you are stressing. So we are all stress managers. But we're not talking about us adults. We're talking about our youth. We're talking about our kids. We're talking about our cousins. How can we help them to manage stress so they can still become who God wanted them to become? And today we have a special guest, amazing lady who has done a lot of research in stress management in the person of Priyanka. She's going to come in to share her experience. It's going to be a lived experience. Then we also have an opportunity to hear from another presenter, Morag, which I'm going to be in place to do her own presentation because she had some problems. She couldn't come in person. So, and also we have music performance from Ebuka. You don't want to miss this. Let me tell you something. Of all the factors that can help you to mitigate and navigate life in regards to stress, music is the magic. If you can understand the role of music in your life, nothing can move you. So today we're going to sit back and we're going to have a very big serenading experience with Ebuka. So thank you for coming this afternoon. We appreciate you. Please, when you come in, make sure you mute your microphone. We'll give you an opportunity to ask your questions. It's going to be pretty much an interactive session because my way of learning, my way of teaching is interactive. So we're going to give everybody an opportunity to come forth, share your experience, then we can all reason together. I learn every single day. So I believe there are so many things I'm going to learn from Priyanka. I believe I'm going to learn from Ebenezer. I believe I'm going to learn from Ify. I believe I'm going to learn from each and every one of us. FACEYOUTH is a family. So what we are doing today is a family meeting. And the best time to talk about stress management is in November. Because if you can get it right, you can navigate through December, then you can start your new year on a fresh note. So thank you so much for coming this afternoon. So after this, we're going to hear a little bit about FACEYOUTH from the perspective of the founder, Ify Anyebu. Then afterwards, we're going to start our presentation in real time. So please sit back and learn a little bit about FACEYOUTH organization. So give me just one few minutes, then we're going to learn about FACEYOUTH and then we're going to get things started. Thank you for coming. Okay, let's go.
Child Education and Youth Empowerment, FACEYOUTH, is a grassroots-inspired charitable organization with vested interest in alleviating poverty, promotion and support of quality education for the disadvantaged child, as well as promotion and provision of vocational and skills acquisition programs for the empowerment of youth. We believe that education and youth empowerment are potentially significant in contributing to the growth of every community. And it is this belief that inspired us to start a FACEYOUTH to bridge the gap in educational opportunities between school children in rural communities and more developed communities by sponsoring as many underprivileged students as possible, by increasing youth representation and involvement in the decision-making process, by promoting and developing entrepreneurial spirit among youth, because we believe that entrepreneurship is one of the pathways to ending poverty, by disseminating relevant information about issues concerning youth written by youth. 3,500 families are beneficiaries of our Street Food Bank initiative, Mission Love. 250 children are beneficiaries of FACEYOUTH Scholarship Scheme in Nigeria and Malawi, and over 500 children have benefited from the Back to School project between 2017 till date, where educational materials were distributed to 5 different schools in Nigeria. FACEYOUTH have also renovated and established 2 library projects at public/government primary schools in eastern Nigeria. Over 80 young entrepreneurs have been given seed funding to support their business from 2018 till date. Entrepreneurship and mentorship seminars are being organized by FACEYOUTH to empower young people, both physical in Enugu and virtual via Zoom. We believe that mental health needs unashamed conversation. Stigma and lack of understanding are two barriers that keep people, especially those from Africa and other ethnic minority communities, from seeking help regarding their mental health issues. It is in light of this that we launched the monthly Mental Health Awareness and Stigma Reduction Initiative for young people to tackle mental health issues in young people, especially from its onset. Our big project right now is the Eastern Food Bank, which was born out of our seasonal Mission Love initiative, because we believe hunger is not seasonal. And another big project is our radio school project to take quality education to remote places with radio network in Africa. Like every charity, our greatest need is financial. If you would like to support us, please, all we ask is for you to make a commitment of 1,000 naira monthly or $2 monthly. We understand that the economy is not stable at the moment. We all need a little extra support. But we believe that these little amounts can help us give children in rural communities quality education they deserve and also help alleviate poverty. We promise to keep you up to date on our activities and how we are spending whatever donations or grants we get. If you can spare anything at all, it will be greatly appreciated. If you also like to partner with us or know somebody that would like to collaborate or partner with us, please initiate the introduction. You can contact us via our email info@faceyouth.org or go to our website www.faceyouth.org/get-involved. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for, hold on. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming this afternoon for this event. We truly appreciate you. At this stage, for the next event, the presenter for the first phase of today's event is Priyanka. So Priyanka, over to you. Please go ahead and present your own section. Thank you, guys. You're good to go, madam. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just sharing the slides.
Awesome.
Good evening, everyone. As Dr. very well gave a clear description of, a brief description of what is stress, types of stress, how all stress impacts us. So I thought I'll take it a little forward from there, talking about how our thoughts, our beliefs impact our stress levels, and also a little more to talk about biology of stress, is what I was thinking. So I'm Priyanka. I'm an integrative psychotherapist. I have a center in Bangalore called Unwind Central in India. I've been practicing since 10 years. So this is my 11th year right now. I'm pleased and honored to be part of this wonderful team. And I thank you for inviting me again. And I'll be taking it forward from there now. So moving forward, wanted to a little bit talk about, firstly, how do we perceive stress, right? Like, do we perceive stress as an enemy or a friend? Because that defines exactly how it's going to go forward. In other words, So if we perceive stress as an enemy, so in a given situation, for example, the heartbeat is raising, right? Or any of other things like in a situation when heartbeat is raising, it can be perceived like, oh my God, something is going to happen to me, uh, anything of that sort. Or it can be like, my heart is beating as a way it's showing that I'm working fine. It's there with me as a friend, like um, more in the sense of like we are the meaning makers of every situation around us and what happens in our body. So it's very important the way you perceive stress, the way you interpret it, and the meaning you attach to it. Like the image that you see here, right? Um, you can take it in either which ways. Yeah. So I'm also, when I was thinking about this, I also wondered like, um, it's very important to choose wisely because based on that, um, it would impact your health. And a study was done on this and in America, and they found out that the way you perceived stress itself impacts rather than the actual stress. So, so it matters a lot. So I just thought I'll start my talk with this. Moving forward, I found this very helpful in terms of understanding. So this is going to be like two people, which you can see on the screen. I want you to think of any relationship that you have with any person in your life, and think of a situation and put yourself in one place and the other person in the other, and think, what are the stressors that you're struggling with? What other support do you have? What vital relationship needs are you not getting met? So this could be the situation here. And also how all these four are related, how our thoughts, the perceptions, the feelings we hold in a particular situation, and how our body responds to it, the body sensations and the behavior. So I'm taking it relational because we are all relational beings. We function through relationships, either relating to ourselves, relating to another, or relating to situation around, all three put together. So I just thought this will be a concise version of it. I'm just going to go forward after a moment. I want all of you to think about a relationship in your life to connect with this concept. Continue thinking. I'm just going to go forward with an example for the same. So example here is at home on a Thursday evening around 9:30 p.m. Children are in bed, and this is the conversation between a husband and wife. Yeah, the partner here. So the thoughts is like, you don't care about my needs. You don't respect me. We're better off of being apart. These were the thoughts one of the partner feels, and it makes the person feel sad and low and anxious. And in return, the physical symptoms seen are tightening of the chest, lump in the throat, and stomach pain. And the behavior is, I can't stand this anymore, and leaves the room, calls up the friend. So that's one person. The other person here, you have no idea how much I do for this family. You're totally ungrateful. I wish I hadn't come home at all, is how the person thinks about and perceives the situation that way. And in return feels anger and bitter and guilty in this situation. And also this tensing of the muscles here, and then heart racing with the whole anger. Behavior is the person shouts and says, "Leave me alone for once, can't you?" And goes back into to watch TV. So the reason I brought this up is I would like you to think of a challenging situation in any of your relationships, and how you probably perceive in the first place. How do you perceive the situation? What are the thoughts that come to you? What kind of a meaning that you attach to that situation, that person, with the words that is shared to you, with the expressions that you see from the other person, and also the tone in which the person talks, or probably even the way their body language is towards you. So what is the meaning that you attach? Basically, you're the meaning maker, so that will determine how it goes forward amongst the two, whoever it is. So I would like this to be more of an exploration kind of a talk. So I'm just putting out questions so that, it'll help you reflect and connect more with yourself. Yes, that's where I'll be going forward in the same way. Now, moving forward, I want you to think about different ways you cope with stress. Okay, so the idea I had was exploring by traveling back in time to discover your existing distortions. What I mean to say by this is, like, I'll take you through a couple of points, different ways of how we all cope. And I want you to just close your eyes and sit back and think about different times you've had, right? Different memories you've had recently or way long back when this is going on, and just check what are the different ways you cope and how far is it helping you and how far is it not helping you. Did it help you in the past and may not be helping you now? So just these questions for you to just keep in mind as we move forward. Yeah. So different levels of defenses. Defenses, in other words, are how we cope in a particular situation. Okay. So I'll be going through one by one. And I want you to just think of the memories of your life where you've probably done this or seen someone else do it as a way to understand yourself and the other person, rather than saying this is good, this is bad, or this is right, wrong, not to go in that direction, or rather look at it more from a perspective of understanding yourself and the other. Okay. So firstly, let's look at the primitive different defense mechanisms. Firstly, with denial, right? Like, I want you to imagine this ostrich putting the head in the sand, or, that's the image that comes to me, because it's almost like it's refusal of the reality which is present right there. It could be also because of a painful event. It could be a painful feeling. Um, while it's apparent to the other person, right? Because it's very clear to the other person, but this person is not willing to, accept what's going on. So that's one thing to think about. It can be some memories from the childhood or any point of time. So I want you to just think of a memory of that sort and see if you recollect anything. Feel free to share on the chat if you're comfortable. If not, you don't need to. So let's move on to the other. Regression is the second one, as you can see. So it's more of like regressing back. So it's reversing to an earlier stage of development when you faced unacceptable or like a fearful, threatening thoughts or impulses. So mostly the person is seen into curling up, a fetal position. A person gets into mostly a fetal position, more of a contracting kind of a body posture. You can see yourself also, maybe another person also. Basically, this happens when a person feels threatened. or is afraid of something. Threat, and the threat can be a perceived threat or a real threat. If it's a perceived threat, it's mostly a trigger from the past experience. So it'll be, may not be in actual, but the person gets triggered and goes back into the flashback, into the memory. And that's how it works. So take a moment to see how often is it an actual threat that you face, and you kind of, contract yourself, like withdraw yourself, or is it an actual threat that is there in the environment, or is it just a perceived one? Yeah, take a moment to think on that. Okay, I'm hoping that's enough time, and I'm moving forward. And also I was thinking it'll make sense if I mention this. The reason I thought different levels of defenses is very important to talk about is it gives a clarity as to what are we doing firstly, to understand different ways we are coping with stress. And sometimes we might cope in such a way that we might actually create more stress because of it being a habit over a period of time. And there is an option for us to have a very mature defense mechanism, which you see at the bottom here. I'll come to it eventually. Just stay by. Okay. So let's move to the next one. It's acting out, right? Like, for example, a person takes extreme steps or extreme behaviors as a way to express the thoughts and emotions, which generally the person finds it very incapable of otherwise expressing. Like, it can be in the form of um, self-injury, or it can be in the form of like, I'm not going to eat today, or withholding self from not sleeping when the person is extremely sleepy. Even the eyes are burning, but not going to bed. Not so these are very different ways a person self-sabotages or hurts themselves. So, but this is a way also to express what's going on for them. So think about this as well. Moving to the next one now. This is dissociation, okay? The one here. So dissociation is, it's like breaking off from the memory, right? Like parts of the memory is like avoided, or parts of the problem is avoided, kind of a situation. There's a disconnect from the real world, or disconnect partially from the real world, because it could be because of the unbearable feelings that you might get in touch with, or the memories from the past, which are quite alive through the triggers at different situations. Yeah, so a lot of sometimes people I've seen suddenly go blank, they go numb, they're not able to recollect many things which otherwise might be easy for someone else, but not easy for them. Because the situations and the memories have been quite painful. Yeah. So to dissociate and not associate, because it's overwhelming to connect. Moving further, compartmentalization, right? So this is like compartmentalizing things and not seeing them merge together. It can be as simple as the values we hold. So This is one lesser form of dissociation in a way, if I can put it. Like, for example, a honest person can cheat in terms of income tax, for example, but is keeping both these things separate. Like, I'm honest about certain things and I'm not honest about certain things. So it kind of creates a discrepancy internally as well. So just for you to think about, what are the internal conflicts that you hold, which creates stress in your life? It may be two aspects, it can be 2 to 3 aspects, different voices that come up and say, hey, this is okay, this is not okay, maybe that, whatever that is. So just take a moment to reflect on this. Moving further, projection, right? For example, I'll go with an example because I think that's the best way to go about it. So, for example, if a spouse is angry on the significant other for not listening, but the actual fact could be the person themselves is not listening. So basically, I have a problem, but I say you have a problem. That same problem. So it's more of like working as a projection on the other person. I project my problem on the other. So something of that sort. Just see at times when you probably are doing this, and it can complicate the relationship unnecessarily. So these are just ways of getting to know how stresses is built in your lives.
Thank you.
I'm hearing some sound.
You're
Someone
good.
please take it.
Yeah, just keep going. You have 10 minutes more.
Sure. So reaction formation. So converting unwanted, dangerous thoughts or feelings into the opposite, right? So when a person is angry, convert into being really nice to the other person in the way they communicate as a way to cope. So that's one thing. I'm going to go a little fast now since we have 10 minutes.
Correct.
So repression could be it's a challenging situation when a person what a person is going through. So there is a unconscious block the person unconsciously there's a block that the person does of the unacceptable thoughts or feelings or the impulses the person has. Displacement, I think self-explanatory as a word. I have anger on probably my brother and I shift it on to my husband. So something of that sort. Intellectualization is in a given situation, I look at only the logical part of it and not look at the whole part of it as a way to manage looking at how things are. So for example, recently, if her husband has observed his wife having paranoia thoughts or extreme impulsive behavior, he justifies saying, this is only because of this, otherwise she's fine, and probably kind of like settles things off, but actually it might be a huge concern. Then looking further into rationalization, a person, I'll go with an example here, it'll be easy to understand. A person says, a person being dumped by a partner might say like, I don't care anyways, he was a loser, kind of a thing. So in order not to connect with what the person is going through, kind of like changes the reality, not to face the reality, rationalizes it, using rationalization as a way to cope. Undoing is another thing as well. Like, for example, a person has done something and for example, if a husband showers his wife with a lot of roses and chocolates on a Valentine's Day, but maybe unconsciously seeking out, that he has neglected her for a very long time. So more or less on those lines. So I'll not go further into the mature defense mechanisms. Those are ways that are helpful as well. These are ways of coping and helpful to understand where you are. So I'll go further. As I already spoke about this, it's the meaning that you attach to what you see around you and in you. So what I also want you to check is what is the belief you hold about stress in a given situation. Um, Take any difficult situation that you hold and recently or any point of time, or it can be a repetitive pattern that's there, and just ask yourself the same question: what meaning do I attach, and what is my belief about the stress at that point of time? Am I able to see that there can be positive, in other words, use stress and distress, or is it only one meaning that I'm attaching? So I also wanted all of you to just think about, whenever we talk about beliefs, right? Beliefs can be looked at in either categories that is clearly there. So for you to further think about is, what are they like? Is it a positive belief that I hold, or a negative, optimistic, pessimistic, all of these? Is it rigid, clear, distorted? So which side am I swinging more to at what point of time? Yeah. Moving further, learned helplessness. This is a story of an elephant. When the elephant is young, it's tied with a rope here, right? So the elephant believes that it can't escape. That's what the baby elephant learned. Even when the elephant grows up, the same rope is tied to the elephant. The elephant actually can escape, but because of the older belief, the belief which was learned as a child, baby elephant, it holds the same belief system and it's not able to break through. So I want all of you to think about, do you hold such a belief system? Are you two feeling the same in different ways? Um, and does that stop you from being the best version of you? And also for you to think about, do you know what could be the possible best version of you in case you work on this thing? It's called learned helplessness, because it's conditioned over a period of time, and that's what is believed even later. But it's workable if you recognize. These are a couple of limiting beliefs, the beliefs that probably we hold. And I've put this cassette as a way representing the past, probably the statements that keep repeating. And sometimes we are aware, sometimes we're not aware of where it's coming from. So these are those statements: you mustn't exist. Either these can be told verbally or non-verbally by the significant people in your lives. So I want you to think about it. Uh, you mustn't be a child, you mustn't grow up, you mustn't make it, you must not do anything, you mustn't be important, you must not belong, you must not be close, you must not be well, you can't be sane, you mustn't think, you must not feel. So the beliefs that a person can hold is, I must not exist. So all of these, in other words. So this can be the cassette being played in the head, of probably the verbal or the non-verbal from the significant members of their life and their early developmental stages. So I have this image on the top here. So a person is stuck in this kind of belief system, the transformation happens and the person is free from it. So that's the way I see how it helps out. There are different ways to go about it, through different techniques. So we can do that. I'll be moving on further now. How so whenever we talk about stress, cortisol is a is something which clearly comes up, because the cortisol level itself determines what happens. If the cortisol levels are low, it also impacts. If the cortisol levels are around above 20 to 40, again it impacts. So usually moderately it's around 20 that is usually required, is what I read. And also if it's not in the the moderate level required. These are the impacts it holds, like weak immune system, heart diseases, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, digestive issues, IBS issues, nervous problems, anxiety and depression, headaches. This is a stress response. I'm not going to go in detail with it now, but just a visual diagram of the same. So these are called, this is a dose hormone set. So I've just called it dose because it's easy to remember. All of you can see this: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. These are hormones which are naturally available in our body, and it can be also what do you say? What's the word for it? Yeah, activated and generated in our body through a couple of activities that we do. So for example, socializing, meditating, completing a task, exercising, taking cold showers. It depends. Each one have their own categories. And when the levels of this is either less or more, sometimes it has a impact, which is here. So it's color coded for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins accordingly. So you can take a moment to read through it. And when the deficiency is there, this is what happens. And these are different ways. There are many more, but these are a couple of ways that you can increase the levels of these hormones that are present. More than happiness levels, I would call it stress busters. I found these words more relevant and more applicable because I feel it gives a kind of a relaxation as well. Because sometimes I've also seen many people have a very unrealistic, very unhealthy seek for positivity as well, which sometimes becomes toxic. So that's where I prefer to use the word helpful and stress busters instead of happiness levels. Moving further.
Great job. You have 1 minute to round up, my guy.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. So I want you to all think about whatever I've shared so far. Feel free to ask any questions, or if you want to share a couple of examples, I would like to hear them as well. And yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for that amazing presentation. Matter of fact, even as a doctor, I learned a lot of things, more like a refresher kind of course. Now, this is the deal. Time will not permit us to go extensively into her slide. What you can do for us, Priyanka, please make your PDF available so that all participants can get a copy. They can go back home, they can run it through, they can listen to this video much later. It will make more meaning. Now, what we are discussing today, it's ultra important for so many reasons. And I'll tell you a couple of them. Remember, today we're talking about our youth. So whenever she was mentioning things about projection and all those primitive reactions, we are actually referring to our youth because the level of our reactions right now, it's supposed to be matured. Though sometimes we see ourselves going into primitive reactions, being in denial, displacement, compartmentalization. They are all coping mechanisms. But remember, we have to be good models for our youths. And when we talk about our youths, it can be your kids, it can be your cousin, it can be your colleagues, it can be anybody in the community. So I will want you to please make your PDF available. Now, I want to make one statement before I go to the next event. Remember, when she was mentioning about those, when she was talking about dopamine, serotonin, endorphin, and oxytocin, the problem with all these chemicals, lately, we have them in medications. We have them in drugs. So when you take it, you get high. So whenever you feel stressed, you want to go back without prescription. So the antidepressants, the anti-anxiolytics, all those drugs we use for treatment of a couple of things, some youths might have a genuine need for them. But the problem is the addictive pathway. Once you use it, it gets stuck on you and you want to go back and you want to keep getting it because it's a feel-good chemical. So it makes you feel good. But there are also some natural ways you can generate all these chemicals that will help you. So the question is, where do we cut off that connection from our youths so they won't go seeking? Because whether you like it or not, you're going to be stressed. So it's not all stressors you go using drugs for. There are a couple of stressors you can cope with coping mechanisms, you can understand it, then you can move to the next level. But please, can we all appreciate Priyanka for that amazing presentation? And please submit your email. Subsequently, we'll make the PDF available to you. So thank you so much for that amazing presentation. Okay, now moving to the next event for today. This amazing lady is a younger sister to the founder of this organization. She's a musician, she's a budding artist, and lately she's got into modeling. I want you to sit back and listen to this amazing presentation by Ebuka. Priyanka, please, can you stop sharing so I can share my own slide? So the next thing is the music performance by Ebuka. Okay. All right. So please stop sharing so I can share my own, okay? All right. So sit back and listen to this amazing presentation by Ebuka.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ibu Kanari. As always, I'd like to thank everyone who has joined us today, the participants, but especially the speakers. We're all amazing. Today we're talking about stress management. And if you're like me that listens to music or sings while I'm a bit down, you'd acknowledge that music is a very effective therapy for stress management. Well, however you choose to deal with your stress today, I just want to remind you that you are loved, you are unique, you are the best at what you do. No one can do it the way you do it, and you're simply amazing. This next performance from me is dedicated to you. Enjoy. Mwah. I call you when I need you, and my heart's on fire. Come to me, wild and wired. You come to me, give me everything I need. Give me a lifetime of promises and a world of dreams. Speak the language of love like you know what it means. Oh, it can be wrong. Take my heart and make it stronger, baby. You're simply the best. You're better than all the rest. You're better than anyone I've ever met. I'm stuck on your heart. I hang on every word you say. Tear us apart. No. Baby, I would rather be there. See, in your eyes, I see the stars of every night and every day. And in your eyes, I get lost, I get washed away. But just as long as I'm here in your arms, I can be in no better place, 'cause you're simply the best. Yeah, you're better than all
stuck on your heart. I hang on every word you say. Oh, tears apart, darling. Baby, I will rather be there. Oh, each time you leave me, I start losing control. Oh, baby, don't let go. Do you know you're the best at what you do, yeah. Oh, darling, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best, simply the best. Come on, sing with me. You're better than all the rest, better than anyone, anyone I've ever met. Ooh, you're the best.
Wow, 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 wow. Amazing, amazing. I don't know how you feel, but I feel, hello guys, hold on. Hold on guys, let me come back. Okay, amazing, amazing presentation by Ebuka. Please, can we all appreciate this amazing talent? This lady is going places. I was blown away. I don't need to tell you much. Just imbibe the words for that song. You are the best. No one can do it better than you. They can try, they can emulate, they can copy, but nobody can do it better than you. So can we all appreciate Ebuka for that amazing performance? So what you can do for Ebuka, you can follow her social media handle. She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram, she's in YouTube, she's going places. You want to identify with this star before she goes big because she's going places. So you are actually simply the best. Now, moving forward to the next presenter, unfortunately, she's not able to come in today because she had some emergency. So I'm gonna sit in her place and quickly run through her presentation. It's very extensive, so I'm gonna try my best to see what I can do with that. Then after that, you sit back for our questions and answers. Now, it might not really sound like your everyday event, but this is actually the most important event to attend this weekend because I believe that at the end of the day, you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn how to manage your stress better. You're gonna understand that you're not alone. You're gonna begin to do things that will make you happy because at the end of the day, you have a choice. So the fact you're attending this event today is all about choices. So when you're done today, you can also copy this and you can share with your kids, you can share with your siblings, you can share with your fathers, you can share with your sisters, you can share with your colleagues. The best thing you can do for people is to love them genuinely because every single day we are exposed to one form of stress or the other. So I'm gonna quickly run through Murad's presentation, then afterwards, we're gonna sit back and take care of your questions. So give me just 1 minute to get that set up. All right, let's see. Okay, let's go. Okay, so next stage is to talk about stress management. Stress management. So Priyanka has helped us to understand a couple of presentations of stress. So the overall aim of my presentation today is to give you an overview about health and well-being. So what's health? What's well-being? When do we begin to mix it up? When do we begin to have problems with our health? When do we begin to have problems with our well-being? So it's going to be a pretty quick, straightforward thing. Now, first of all, when we are defining health, health in itself is not the absence of disease or infirmity. Health is all-encompassing. So when we talk about health, health is the complete physical, mental, and social well-being. I'm going to repeat again. Health is a complete. So I want you to underline that word complete. So if it's not complete, you are not in health. Now, you might be in physical health, but if your mental health is lacking, you're not in good health. So it has to be physical, it has to be mental, it has to be social well-being. So physical means, how do you look after your body? Mental means, how do you look after your mental health? Everybody in attendance today needs to start taking their mental health issues serious, because we tend to have this impression that, oh, people are going crazy, mental health is not for me, depression is not for me, anxiety is not for me. Anybody can suffer mental health problems, but thankfully you can get help. So your take home today is to understand that health is not the absence of disease. So you might not have malaria, but you might not be in good place. The headache you might be having might not be because of malaria. It might be because you're not happy. It might be because you just recently had a very bad break. So make a conscious effort to remember that your mental health mirrors your physical health. So what's mental health and well-being? So this is defined as the emotional and spiritual resilience, which allows us to enjoy life, survive pain, disappointment, sadness. Is a positive means of coping. So it's a positive sense of well-being, an underlying belief in our own and others, and dignity and worth. So what we are doing today is actually to empower you to remember that in the world, you're going to have challenges, you're going to be stressed. So what are you going to do about it? Now, why do we talk about mental health and stress? Now, if you look around you, especially in Africa, you will discover that lately we've been talking more about mental health services. They've increased their budgeting. Most governments are budgeting a lot of money, but they are not doing it now, like less than 1% towards mental health services. Meanwhile, that's where we need it more. Like if you're a Nigerian, currently, we have a problem. We have a pandemic in the eastern part of the country. So there's this particular drug we call Bulumili. It's an epidemic. It's a big monster that is going to consume everybody out there. Now, the question is, how much are they budgeting towards making sure that those kids are getting help? It's flogging them openly, shaming them openly, actually helping. That's also a manifestation of poor stress management. It's possible that subsequent to them going into that particular drug abuse, they were stressed, they didn't know how to handle it, and maybe their friends, indoctrinated them into that. So we need to understand that everything that relates to mental health and stress, there is something we can do about it. Because we're very good in complaining, oh, the government is not doing this, the government is not doing that. What about you? Starting from your family, how do you address the family stress? How do you address your kid that might be going through mental health breakdown, depression, anxiety? Lately, depression is the most prevalent mental health problem in the world. Currently, an estimated 100 million people in Africa suffer from clinical depression. And guess what? This is just an estimate. I can tell you it's quadruple that number, including 66 million of women. So guess what? Mental health problem, depression is common among women. And remember, we are talking about our youth. So our young girls are more prone to having depression compared to our young boys. So take this very, very serious. Now, World Bank considers it the greatest thief of productive economic life. So depression as a single factor in mental health can cost a lot of $1 trillion every single year to manage. Now, moving forward, how do you become aware of your stress? So we're talking about stress awareness. And in defining stress, what's actually stress? So WHO defines stress as the reaction people may have when they are presented with demands and pressure that are not matched with the knowledge and ability and the challenges they have. So let me repeat. The reaction that people may have when presented with demands and pressures that are not matched to their knowledge, abilities, which challenge their ability to cope. So like I mentioned, we are stressed on daily basis. Stress can be positive, stress can be negative. So we are more interested in the negative stress. We want to make sure we revert back to the positive stress. Stress on itself is not an illness. It's not a disease. It's a state. If stress becomes excessive, prolonged, mental, and physical, then that's when we begin to worry. So stress can help us to see what we need to do immediately. Let me give an example. In stress management, I want you to focus on fight, flight, response. It's actually 3 F's. They remove the first F. The first one is what? Fright, fight, and flight. Now let's use an example. You saw a lion approaching you right now. What are you gonna do first? You're gonna be what? Frightened. You're gonna be very fearful for your life. So you see a lion approaching you. Now, if you have a gun, you can shoot that lion. If you're very physical because your life is in danger, you can try to fight the lion or you can flee. So anytime you're presented with stress, the first reaction is what? Fear, fright, then you fight and you flee. So this is a response that has been used over the decades in relationship to managing stress. So how do you respond to your stressors? How do you respond to things when it happens? How do you respond to that elephant? How do you respond to that lion? Do you stay back and become fearful? Do you stay back and fight? Or do you flee from that particular stressors? Now let's give ourselves an example of stressors. So you can have acute stress. Acute stress means now that might be stressing you. So example is being late. Like some people were late for this gathering today. It's a stress. So if you had wanted to start from the beginning and you couldn't start from the beginning, you won't be in a good place because you probably might have missed a lot of things. Or maybe a member of the family is sick, or you're covering for additional duties. Maybe a member of your work staff, someone in your team is not doing their job and you're mopping up their task, or you're following them up, or you're babysitting them. And we have all these people in our organizations. And our youths are gonna meet people that will make life difficult for them. So our youths can have acute stress. It might even be sibling rival. So your sister, your brother, you guys are struggling for prominence or whatever. It can cause you acute stress. You might not be happy, or you have an unexpected change. Now, stress can also be chronic stress, like poor work-life balance. So many people have this problem. So many people want to change the world in a day. So many people go to their workplace and they want to do their own job. They want to do their boss's job. They want to do their subordinate's job. And when you do that, you discover you don't have work-life balance. That might give you chronic stress. So chronic stress is the type of stress that can develop over time. Now, the second type of stress is financial stress. Whether you like it or not, you need your money. You need your finances. So anybody telling you, oh, or evil is actually, please mute yourself when you come in. Someone is talking on the background. Please mute yourself. Once you come in, mute yourself, or Ebenezer, please help mute anyone coming in so that they won't disrupt me. Okay, so financial concerns can cause you a lot of stress. This is actually the type of stress that so many people are going to go into, especially as they are building up to December, the Christmas period. You're hustling for money. You're trying to go and impress a lot of people. People might not really understand the stress you go through to make money, to give money. A lot of people are demanding money from you, and you haven't even been able to take care of yourself. So financial stress is huge. It can also happen to our youth. They might want some electronic gadgets. They might want to change their phones. They might want to buy shoes, and you might not be able to provide them those, issues then. And if they can't get what they need, it can be a stress to them. Now you can have pressure to manage demands, lack of support, relationship problems, individual health problems, or you become, conscious that you're actually not well. You begin to worry, oh, is everything okay with me? Is everything okay with my mom? Is everything okay with my daughter, my son, my father? This can all be chronic stressors in our life. Now you have to know how to balance your pressure and your stress. Pressures, if they are not handled properly, can navigate and gravitate towards stress. Once you begin to feel inactive, laid back, fatigue, exhaustion, anxiety, panicking, anger, and breakdown, you are tilting towards stress. Once it's going towards this direction, you need to slow down. Now, what are the types of stressors you have? Like I mentioned, stress can be positive. So in positive stress is a mild stress that leads to positive learning and development. For example, you don't know how to swim. You've been practicing. So positive stress can be generated by learning to swim. And when this happens in a supportive environment, it will lead you to develop the skill and mastery of swimming. So if you live like somewhere in Florida, where we have a lot of body of water, If there is need for you to swim, you swim for your life. So positive stress can lead to positive learning and development. Now, some people can have tolerable stress. So this is a serious but temporal stress, which you can recover from. So tolerable stress can be generated by the death of a loved one, your grandparent, your mom, your sister, your child, or someone is terribly sick and you don't have sufficient support to give them. Maybe you're in diaspora and they're in Nigeria and you're trying to, get them help, or maybe your daughter, your son in Nigeria, your cousin, and you can't do more than what you're doing now. You can have that stress, but it's tolerable. Over time, when they become better, you begin to feel a lot better. Now we go to the toxic stress. This is serious, intense, prolonged stress. This is the one that will cause a lot of damages to our body. When you are in a toxic stress, it might be a toxic relationship. It has implications of affecting your health and development. It can make you go crazy. You can make you terribly sick. You can develop hypertension. You can develop diabetes. You can add a lot of body weight. You can end up terribly sick when you are in a stressful, toxic issue. It might be your relationship. You might have lost your job. You might have lost your bearing. You can be domestic abuse. It can be your kids witnessing parental abuse. It can be anything within yourself is very stressful. So recognizing the type of stress you have is very important. Now, it can also be traumatic stress. In traumatic stress, unfortunately, is an overwhelming kind of stress. So you had a traumatic experience in the past. I'm going to give an example. Maybe you were raped. Maybe you had an abuse, or maybe you were, you had an accident, or you witnessed a shooting, or you witnessed a crime, and that memory is in your head. You keep reliving it. Anytime you remember that, your blood pressure is up, your heart rate is, pacing. This is traumatic stress. If you don't seek help on time, it can over time damage you on an extended basis. So if you go through any form of the stress I mentioned, it's important you get help. Life is life. We are constantly going to be stressed. There are a couple of stressful life events and things you can do to cope. It might be divorce, it might be family death, it might be loss of employment, it might be pressure at work, you might be bullied at work, it might be racism, it might be loss of confidence, and you can react by having anxiety, stress, depression, reduced concentration, lack of motivation, mood fluctuations, withdrawal. Now, how do you cope? Like Priyanka mentioned, we need to focus on bubble. How do you burst the bubble? You focus on the dose she mentioned, self-care, coping mechanism. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of nobody. So love yourself the way you are. Look yourself up in the mirror and tell yourself you're the best. Just like Ebuka mentioned, nobody can better you in what you do. So self-care is important. Now, friends, support. You can't go wrong with this. Now, when you are done doing this, seek your truth. Stick to your truth. Don't allow the society define your truth. Don't allow anybody validate your truth. Make sure you're the person seeking your own truth. Make sure you're not in denial. Be your own person. Then tap into the inner strength. Bounce back and keep on grinding and keep on grounding yourself. When you can do this, you discover that over time you're going to get better. Now, if you have work-related stress, there are a couple of areas this can come from. It can be from demands, it can be from control, it can be from support, it can be from relationship, it can be from role, and it can come from change. Discover where you are having this stress and see what you can do to wiggle away from that particular stress. So in stress management, we talk about stress buffers. You can use it in your relationship. It can be in your interpersonal resources. It can be in your security and your resources. It can be in your physical and emotional health and well-being. Whichever one is at your disposal, use it, but know when to transition. There comes a point in time you begin to seek professional help. When you see yourself, you're not getting help in trying to cope with this stress, seek for help early. The earlier you seek for help, the better. Now, some of our parents, some of us might be stressing, and we might not know that it has a trickle-down effect on our kids, on our cousins, on our colleagues. Recognize when you're not in a good place. Look for a friend that will have a listening ear. Play some music. Do some exercises. Like when Priyanka was presenting, she mentioned something about the couple of chemicals in our body: oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, and the other one, serotonin. Guess what? When you go to exercise, or when you're in a good place, when you're feeling good, when you're laughing, you are depositing a lot of endorphins. When you have endorphins, when you have oxytocin, nothing else matters. And there are certain things you can engage in. Some of us can engage in sexual practices. Some of us can engage in eating out, in talking. When you do all these good feeling thing, you are generating that same endorphin. You are generating that same dopamine. You are generating that same serotonin. So you don't necessarily need to go and take any drug. So when you climb the treadmill and you sweat and you feel good, when you come out to shower, you discover you've actually created your own natural coping mechanism. So focus on your body, focus on your connecting energy, focus on enjoyment, focus on your achievement. Remember to pat yourself on the back. Unfortunately, some of us are perfectionists. We don't cut slacks for ourselves. We always beat ourselves up. I'm not this, I'm not that. But guess what? Living is the most important thing you can have in life. Only the living can complain. So take good care of yourself. Your body care, it's very, very important. Body care is part of your self-care. So eat properly, exercise, rest, avoid excessive drug, smoking, caffeine. Sleep is huge. Play some music. Give yourself some time. Now embrace nature. Nature is very therapeutic. There are so many things. You will go out there in the woods, you go out in the lakes, and you feel good. So connect with nature. Go to the woods, go to the mountains, go to the lakes. Just be in the moment and appreciate the beauty of life. Now, guess what, guys? We are all big-time achievers. Remember to recognize your achievement. When you recognize your achievement, your brain will get a boost. When your brain gets a boost in the day, it's going to carry you for the whole day. So recognize your achievement. When you recognize you've achieved something, and one of the best achievements you can actually have in life is actually surviving. 2020 was very scary. This is 2021. We survived 2020. We are in 2021. Guess what? If you are breathing, you are achieving. So achievement, when you recognize you've achieved, is going to increase the dopamine. And when you increase the dopamine aspect of your body, you begin to increase the level of your serotonin. These are chemicals that will make you to feel good. The essence is feeling good against all odds. When you do this, you can translate it to your kids. Now, connecting with people. When you connect with the right kind of people, they can also release oxytocin. Oxytocin will boost your well-being. This same oxytocin you can also release if you've had a very good sexual experience. You're going to release a lot of oxytocin. Oxytocin is what will contract your pelvis, your womb, and you feel so good. If you're having an orgasm when you're having sex, this is what will be elaborated. In the same vein, you release your endorphins. The idea is to be happy at any point in time. When you connect to the right kind of people, you can actually wiggle away from stress. But stress is a journey. It's not a destination. Smiling can say a lot of things. Saying hello can correct a lot of that anger inside of you. You are in charge of how you feel. Now remember to enjoy life. You only have one life and you only live once. So remember to make out time and enjoy life. When your mood is dipping, when you feel tired, the first thing to stop doing for most people is to think, oh, I have to stop, fun, I have to stop enjoyable activities. No. That's actually when you need to intensify on that, because you need to bring yourself back to where you are normally happy. So enjoy life. Don't take life for granted. Every day above ground is a blessed day. So if the world is coming to an end and you can hear my voice today, it doesn't matter. Live in the now. Forget whatever you didn't have. Focus on what you have now, which is the best thing in life. Remember your friends. Remember your family. Remember your music. Remember your exercise. Remember your sleep. So take time to fix you. And the only person that can fix you It's you. Now, after this, I'm gonna ask if she can make this slide available, but this is what she has for her own side of today's presentation. Okay, so thank you for coming. And at this stage, we're gonna open the floor for interactive session. So thank you for coming. Okay, I'm gonna open the floor for questions. So what we can do, you can use the audio, you can use the video. So if you want to contribute, if you have specific questions, if you have anything you want to share with us, your experience, please feel free to come forth, raise your hand, then I'm going to bring you forth, you share your experience. But your take home today, health is not the absence of disease. Health is your physical health. Health is your social health. Health is your mental health. Health is attending this. Health is being happy. Health is smiling against all odds. Health is remembering you're not going through stress alone. So if you can go home today, you can fix you, and nobody can fix you better than you. Okay, so at this stage, we're going to give you an opportunity to contribute by asking your questions. Okay, Priyanka, you're still there, right? If you're there, please, can you say hello so we can take care of the questions?
No, unfortunately, Priyanka had to log out because it's past midnight. She says she's feeling very tired. It's part of stress management. So what we'll do is we would email all the questions, if there's any for her that you can't handle, to her, and then she will get back to the person that asked the question. So that's what we're gonna do.
Okay, that's no problem. I can actually sit back, and please, if you have any question whatsoever related to her own presentation, I can handle it. Related to Marat's presentation, I can handle it. So it's time to ask your questions. And please, if you want to contribute, we can enable you. You can talk, you can use your video, you can use your microphone. Let's make it interactive, okay? So please, let's quickly see what we have. So admin, please feel free to share any questions on the floor so I can provide you feedbacks. Please, how do you manage unplanned stress? Remember the steps. You are in charge of you. How you feel about things is entirely a choice. Now, we can get overwhelmed, okay? So don't feel bad when you're not able to manage things, but most stressors will start as acute stress. You woke up this morning, you're not happy, you didn't handle it, it begins to gravitate towards, the left. Now, what can you do? In the immediate, when something unplanned happens, you revert back to solutions. So this is when to take good care of yourself, self-care, exercise, eat good food, sleep. What I've noticed, most people do not sleep. Most people stay up 24 hours looking for solutions, doing their worst when they think they're doing their best. When you have done your best, there is a role that sleep can play in your body. When you are sleeping, you're resting. When you are sleeping, you're rejuvenating your body. So sleep, it's a very huge, important aspect of dealing with unplanned stress. You can go for a walk, you can climb the treadmill, you can run your staircase, you can dance, you can play your favorite music, you can be in the moment. And guess what? When you can handle the acute stress, it gives you a better frame of mind to handle decisions. When you're not in a good place, please don't make decisions. Some people make decisions when they're angry. Some people make decisions when something is not going their way. When you make that decisions, you begin to regret it later. And when you regret things, it begins to spoil a lot of things. Relationships, anger. Like you noticed when she was presenting, two people might be in the same house, they're not expressing their emotions, and they won't know they're actually at daggerheads with each other. So expressing yourself, being able to communicate, being able to, remove yourself from the immediate and seeking solution, it's very important in handling unplanned stress. Okay, let's continue. Okay, impromptu sickness or when you are diagnosed with illness. So doing the right things matter. If you are sick, The right person to consult with is who? A doctor. If your parents are sick, the right person to consult for them is who? A doctor. Stop looking for quick fixes. If you are good, if you've done your best, there is this sense of fulfillment. So if it's sudden illness, the question is, have you taken that person to the right place? What are they doing about it? If you take that person to the right place, if your child is sick, if your mom is sick, if your siblings are sick, if your daughter or whoever is sick, and you take them to the right place, when you do that, you have solved that problem in the acute. Now, it's going to take time for them to recover. Like our parents, some of them might be diabetic, some of them might be hypertensive. Hypertension and diabetes is not something you cure permanently. But when we give them the drugs, we can help them to navigate, because anything that affects any member of the family will affect everybody. Okay, so if it's about sickness, seek the right kind of help. Go to the right kind of profession. Always seek help. No shortcut. No trying to do things ourselves, because the problem is, I want to do things myself. We begin to treat malaria. We begin to treat typhoid. We begin to pop antibiotics. Unfortunately, some of us might also have infertility stress. You want to have all your babies in one go. You've been married for 10 years, for 15 years. You don't have a baby. That's a source of chronic stress. So in that situation, what do? You refuse to lean on your own understanding. You begin to seek higher help. You begin to look for a fertility specialist. You begin to exercise. You begin to eat properly. You begin to sleep. You begin to drink your water. What are you doing? You are building yourself to getting what will give you results. So infertility is an example of health-related stress you can handle appropriately. How can you handle it appropriately? By going to the right kind of person. Very, very, very important. Okay, all right, let's continue. What does spiritual health mean? You see, we are created in three different realms: your physical person, your emotional person, and your spiritual person. So spirituality means how you connect to God. So spiritual health means, how do you commune with God? How do you commune with your originality? How do you go back to source? So spiritual health has to do with your meditation, your prayer, your ability to hand everything to God. If you can do that, everything that happens to us in the spirit. You can take care of your physical health. You can take care of your physical body. If your spiritual health is messed up, nothing will stand. Your spiritual health is solid. Ability to connect to God. And I'm not talking about your denomination. I'm not talking about if you're Catholic or Muslim or whatever you are. The ability to recognize the God factor. The ability to correct to that spirit that actually gave you the ability to be. If you can commune with God, if you can communicate with God, if you can meditate, if you can pray, then your spiritual health will be solid. And they are all connected. When your spiritual health is not in a good place, you must suddenly begin to develop headache. You must suddenly begin to sweat. And your physical health can also affect your spiritual health. So if you haven't had sleep for a long time, will your spiritual health go haywire? Yes. Will you trust God? No. There comes a point in time in life when we don't even believe in God no more. We begin to query so many things. We begin to query so many things in the Bible. We begin to query so many things in the Quran. That comes a point when you need to sit back and think about your spiritual health. Your spiritual health is very, very important. Okay? Very, very important. All right. Okay, please keep asking your questions. Okay, Doc, you want to ask, how do you ensure that stressful situation in your personal life doesn't affect your work performance? Now, if you notice when I was giving my presentation, I mentioned something about work-life balance. Now, I'm going to give you a typical example. When you go to work, you are at work. When you are home, you are at home. Unfortunately, some people take their work home, and some people take their work to home. Some people go to their work, they are angry, they left the heart sad. Now, when they go there, they begin to project their sadness. They begin to compartmentalize. They begin to practice all those primitive reactions on their colleagues, on their friends, on their husbands, on their parents, without dealing with the major issue that led to that. So work-life balance is important. When you go to work, deal with all your work-related stress. Discuss with your colleagues, discuss with your boss, talk to them. Sometimes we think that people know how we feel. If you don't tell people how you feel, they would know. And there are so many people in your workplace that might be jealous, they might be envious, maybe you're their boss, they might be looking for an opportunity to get back at you. If you don't communicate how you feel, if you don't address them officially, if you don't shoot that email, if you don't make official report, they will continually be on your nerves. And over time, you can burst. Anybody can suddenly burst. No matter how good you are, no matter how healthy you are, once you hit your melting point, once you reach your breaking point, you're going to break. That's why people will say, oh, why are you so angry? You used to be good. You smile a lot. Someone that smiles can also flip. Any human being can flip. So when you go to work, deal with everything work related. When you come back home, deal with home related issues. This is where you need to eat good food, exercise, drink a lot of water, sleep. Don't take your work home, and don't take your home relationship to work. Separate both of them. So many people make these mistakes, especially in this era of coping with COVID-19. Some of us are working from home. If you begin to work from home, if you're not careful, you can be distracted. Working from home requires a lot of discipline. When you are at work, you take your bath, you wear your clothes, you go to your workstation, you know you are working. Because if you are not careful, working from home is going to affect your productivity. Now, when you go to work, are you going to be happy 24 hours? No. Are people going to be on your nerves? Yes. Are you going to have situations where you don't like? Yes. Are you going to lose your job? Sometimes you will do that. But any situation you find yourself, always remember you can have a coping mechanism to avert the deadly outcome. Very, very important. So your work-life balance is important. It might not be 50-50, but make a conscious effort to avoid putting things, mixed up. Separate your work from your family life. If you're having a bad situation at home, deal with it. Sometimes it might be your kids, sometimes it might be your spouse, sometimes it might be your parents, sometimes it might be your siblings. Deal with them. Separate them from work. If anybody gets on your nerve or you have an issue at work, deal with them at work. If it's Friday, it's Friday. By Monday, you continue where you stop. But when you begin to carry it over to your Friday, to your Saturday, to your Sunday, what's going to happen? It's going to ruin your mood. And when your mood is ruined, when you go back on Monday, it's going to be worse. Okay? Okay, please raise your hand if you also want to talk. We encourage you to contribute. It's interactive. Okay, so keep asking your questions. You can also make your contribution. So feel free to ask your question. I have one raised hand. Let me see. Okay, Uncle Chimax. Okay, so I'm going to allow you to talk. Okay, let's see. Yeah, please go ahead and talk.
All right. Good evening, Doc, and good evening to every participant, and special regards to FACEYOUTH for organizing something like this. Doc, I want to say that as we grow every day, we think we have known a lot of things, but trust me, with these webinars, I've been learning new things each time I find myself listening to it. And from all the last contributions you made, I'm actually a single guy, and I grew up with this mentality that whenever sex is mentioned, you made mention of something about sex helping people to relax and all that, and release some chemicals with pelvic contraction and the rest. I followed it. So, and here in Africa, they have a way of making sex look so evil and all that, that make us young people, even looking up to marriage, we don't see it as something to like maybe look up to or something, maybe because of the way it has been demonized by religion and the rest of them. And I just want to say that I'm going to have a different mindset to have something to look up to. And I've learned a lot from you, even outside this organization. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Uncle Chimax. Please don't go. We're going to have one of few interactive session. We use it to, kind of make it more fun. Now, I'm not going to put you to spot. For you to be an uncle, that means you're an adult, right?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So here's the deal. This is 2021. And growing up, we didn't have the privilege of having an independent mind. Virtually everything we did, our parents wanted us to do that. And even unfortunately, even up to the point of having relationships, even up to the point of being married, so many people are not versed in sexual relationships. So many people do not have sex education. They do nothing. But guess what? We are living in a different era. Matter of fact, in my organization, we actually encourage parents to start sex education as early as 6. Do you know why? Because at 6, your girls have started developing breasts. They've started developing pubic hairs. Some of them are going to bleed. Some of them can bleed as early as 9. So if you don't teach them, if you don't teach them the various parts of the body, they are going to interact out there. They have access to internet. They are in social media, even against us knowing. So they will learn all those things. So the best place for them to learn is us. Now, I'm sure your mom didn't tell you about sex. I'm sure your dad didn't tell you about sex. I'm sure right now, no matter how old you are, probably from reading novels or watching movies or your peer people,
Exactly.
Now, this is the deal. It's something that entails a lot of maturity. So it's not for kids. You have to come of age. You have to understand the implications. You have to understand that you can pick up sexually transmitted infections. You can actually get someone pregnant. So it's not necessarily in the end product of having sex and having orgasm and feeling good. It's knowing fully well the reason why you're indulging in it. And it's actually also a relationship you go into based on who you want to have it with. So it's complex. But the point I'm trying to make is this. You know yourself. You are now an independent adult. You are not attending this event. You're not going to go report to your mom, oh, am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Guess what? They're not going to teach you anything. So the earlier you begin to know your truth, the earlier you begin to acquire higher knowledge, the better you will become. Now, unfortunately, based on our orientation, based on our culture, based on our religion, we demonize sex. We spiritualize sex, even in relationship. So you can see so many women that are not getting the best. They don't even know anything about sex. They believe it's just for having babies. But this is something that is given in your body. Like I mentioned oxytocin, I mentioned endorphin, I mentioned serotonin, I mentioned dopamine. Guess what? These are natural neurotransmitters in your body, and you can auto-generate them. When a woman is having an orgasm, when a man is having an orgasm, you're releasing an endorphin. When you release endorphins, you don't feel anything. If the world is crashing, you don't care. These are all natural coping mechanisms. But the watchword is what? Are you old enough? And when I talk about old age, I'm not necessarily talking about numbers. I'm talking about maturity. There are some people that might be 50, but they might be behaving like people in their 20s. Then there are some people that are in their 20s, and they are good to go. They can run live. There are so many young people that know better than older people. So you know within yourself how to form your relationships, how to make acquaintances, how to form your boy-girlfriend relationship. It's very complex. It's not something I will tell you now, but I'm happy you are understanding that a time will come when you start making your own decisions, when you definitely settle with your girlfriend, marry your girlfriend, and begin to live life. This is life. And your parents are not going to tell you this, believe me. Your mom will never tell you this. Your dad will never tell you this. If you have a big brother, maybe. If you have a big sister, maybe. So if you have younger ones, begin to tell them, don't hide anything from them. Tell them that if a man makes love to a woman, any woman that has this body, if the penis enters there, pours the semen, you can get pregnant. If we don't teach them, nobody's going to teach them. They will learn by themselves. Whether you teach them or not, they're going to learn. Okay?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I'm very grateful, Doc.
You're welcome, my brother. Please, if you have any other need to contribute, please raise your hand. People connect differently. So if you connect better by talking, we can give you an opportunity to talk and you can contribute, and we can also learn from you guys, okay? So let's see. Let me see. I think I have another question. Okay. Okay. And if you have a need for this presentation, just share your email and we're going to get across to you. So please, okay, let me see. Doc, this one hit differently. This is what you usually tell people. You remember confronting your parents on this. They ended up apologizing for not doing whatever they should have done. But of course, we don't give what we don't have. You don't necessarily blame your parents. That's the way they were raised. If you notice, if you're not careful, anytime you're communicating with your parents, you're quarreling with them because they can never see things your way. And we can never say things their way. Everything is all spiritualized. Everything is all demonized. Even when you are married, so many girls are still tied to their mother's apron strings. So many men still have to call their parents to take, permission before they deal with their, issues at home. Then you're still caught up in your juvenile stage. This is now. So the fact you're saying no to your parents, the fact you're not agreeing with them doesn't mean you're disrespecting them. You have to be your own person. You don't have to allow anybody to come and live your life for you. No, you're an adult now. That's a fact. And the more you begin to inculcate it in our youths, because they're going to go to school, they're going to go to boarding school, they're going to go to university, they're going to manage their situations, they're going to manage bullying in school, they're going to manage a lot of things. We will not be there for them 24 hours. So we have to know when to transition to being our own person, making our own decisions, definitely making mistakes. So many of us made mistakes, but without your mistakes, you will learn. Okay? All right, guys. All right, please, if you have any other question, keep submitting your question. In the next 15 minutes, we're going to wrap up. And if you need any other further help, please contact FACEYOUTH. If you need to contribute to this amazing organization, you can see they're doing wonderful things in our community. If there's any organization I know for today that actually goes out there in the neck of the woods and actually care for people, is this organization. So it's coming up to December. They have a lot of programs lined up. Please identify with them. With your 1,000 naira, with your $1, with whatever you have, even if you don't have, you can volunteer. There are so many things you can give in life. It's not necessarily about money. Okay, so please keep asking your questions. It's time for questions. If you have any contributions, if you have any comments, you can raise your hands and we can together knock it off and we keep learning. We learn every day. Okay? Keep asking your questions. Let's see. Okay? Is this all we have for today? Are you guys shy? Please keep asking your questions. This is free. You won't pay for any of the feedbacks. Okay. Let's see. Okay, please keep asking your questions. If we don't have any other further question, then I'll probably bring the CEO up to address us. Then if you give your closing remark. Do we have any other questions? Do you want to contribute? You can raise your hands like Uncle Chimex. You can express yourself. We have a lot of youths in our community. How have you been coping with stress? What's your major stressor in life now? What's that particular thing that is really stealing your joy away? Feel free to share your experience. If you can't talk, you can type your messages and we can address them. Okay? All right. Okay, well, I believe we've learned one or few things today. So thank you for coming. Ify, please, can you come forth and address the gathering and update them of the, okay, I think I have another, hold on. I think I have another hand up.
Another hand up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, yeah. Please, I want to know what fruits or vegetables can one eat to help with stress management? Is there a particular type of diet one can eat to help him or her cope with stress?
Yes, there is. So generally, if you're in Africa, I'm sure you know we don't have any contest when it comes to the most delicious food in the world. We have the best. Now, when we eat food that has a lot of calories, like high calorific content you can get from carbohydrate, you can get from all those type of food we eat, pepper soup, umpobi, swallow, they are all good. But the question is quantity, portion control. Now, if you are stressing, there are some food items that will help you to boost your immunity. They will help you to increase what we call antioxidants. So this type of food will help you to increase your antioxidants like fruits and vegetables. Your fruits increase a lot of your.
Mute your phone, please. Mute your phone. Mute your speaker, please. Go on, please. Anchor, go on.
So eat more fruits, eat more vegetables, drink a lot of water. If you are going through acute or long-term stress, avoid your alcohol and your smoking. Water is your best friend. You can't go wrong with fruits. Can't go wrong with vegetables. Now, also make it a point of duty to take your daily multivitamins, because no matter how healthy you eat, no matter how careful you are, you will not get everything you need from your food. So when you take your daily multivitamins will supplement what you're not getting from food, and they can help a lot in your stress management. It can even help you in your sexual relationship. So yes, fruits, vegetable, water, you can't go wrong with that. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Please, if you have any other question, you can raise your hand. If you have contributions, you can raise your hand. If not, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to address us, then we can call it a day. Okay, I think there's another hand that got raised. Okay, Uncle Chimex, you wanna, okay, let's give iPhone, there's another, hold on. Oh, okay, I think you're unable, right? If you're unable, please, you can go ahead and contribute.
Okay, sir. So I just want to share another experience on how to manage stress. Just like you said, that we can share how we've been able to manage stress.
Go ahead.
One of the ways that have helped me is that because I combine business with my work, so I combine business with my work, and one of the problems I've had earlier in life is trying to ask for help. I felt that I could do everything on my own, that I can't ask for help, but I noticed that it has not been helping me. So I now started reaching out to people to help. I can ask my fiancé to help me. I can ask my brothers to help me. Before, I'll have this feeling that nobody can do it the way I want it to be done. I want to just do everything. And even in my job, I had to employ someone while the person is handling the job. I'm paying the person and focus on my job when I'm in my job. And when I'm at home to do the business, we do it together. And this way have really helped me to be able to manage stress. So, and I don't eat I don't eat junk food and all that. And people say I'm getting fresh, but I don't think there's anything different I'm doing. It's just that I've tried to reduce stress, and I've come to the fact to understand that this life is one, and when you die, people will forget you. So anything to make my life easy, I do that. I try to eat fruits as I eat. After eating my food, I try to eat fruits as much as I can, drink water as much as I can. I don't allow anything. I intentionally go for what makes me happy. And one of the things that has helped me is by feeding myself with positive thoughts. Even if I go to social media, I go to where people, I can go to just where people dance just to be happy. I can go to where there's jokes just to be happy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Uncle Chimax. Guess what? You are one of the people we are looking for. So you're the light. So go to your community and shine, because everything you've mentioned is actually an antidote to stress. Like when you talk about employing people, asking for help, let me tell you the truth. No matter what you have in life, we all need help. The problem is when we talk about help, people think about money. Money is not all about helping. It's not only money we can give people. Sometimes you can give best advice. Sometimes you can give listening here. And I heard you saying something about your fiancé. So learn how to share your problems. Learn how to ask for help. And learn how to respond to help when people ask for help, because we definitely need each other. And I'm also happy you found your work-life balance. The fact you're choosing your food carefully, the fact you're eating your vegetables, the fact you're going to social media and you're going to positive groups. There are so many negative groups. You can't even, when you wake up in the morning, the first news that will greet you is negative. Oh, they killed this number of people, this is happening. If you dwell on those thoughts, it's gonna drag your day. But if you intentionally go to the positive groups, positive places you crack jokes and you dance, it's gonna boost your endorphins. So guess what? When you're doing all those things by default, your dopamine is good, your endorphin is good, your oxytocin is good, and your serotonin is good. So when people see you feeling good, they'll be wondering, why is this guy feeling good? People will not understand. But what I will tell you to do is to go to your community. Now you're in the light. Make sure you keep dragging people from darkness into light. So thank you for sharing that experience. Very, very interesting. Okay. Do we have any other person raising their hands? Okay. I think we're good. If you please go ahead and address the gathering, then we can round up. Over to you. Hello, Fee. Ify, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, Doc. I thought there was somebody raising their hand. Yeah.
No, we are good.
Thank you so much for the amazing presentation. I'm so sorry I couldn't switch on my, let me try and switch on the video. I'm trying to see if I can get the children to sleep. So I'm on earpiece. Okay. So thank you everybody for joining. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. This is going to be the final seminar that we'll have for 2021, and we really appreciate you. So I would like to talk briefly about Mission Love Christmas. Some of you must have seen the flyer going around, and I want to make a passionate appeal to all of us that are on this call to at least share the flyer and the correspondence about Mission Love Christmas with our contacts. We understand that many people, especially in Africa, in Nigeria, eastern part of Nigeria, go without food on Christmas Day. I mean, many of us dine, we take pictures of our tables and all that. We have a lot to eat, but some people can't even afford to eat anything, any food at all on Christmas. So they go hungry on ordinary days and they still go hungry on Christmas Day. So why we launched this Mission Christmas is to help thousands of vulnerable people. We don't get to reach everybody, but at least we get to reach some families who are struggling to provide food for their families. Some people ask, is 1,000 naira really enough? And we say, why not? If you give a hungry person or a person that doesn't have food at all 2 or 3 cups of rice, it goes a long way. Like most of them have vegetables that they grow in their farm, or palm fruit, you know, apple. That is very popular amongst Eastern Nigerian people. So all they need is at least 2 or 3 cups of rice to be able to provide a Christmas meal for their families. So if all of us, we are currently about 22 on this call. So if we all share with our contacts and we get 10 people each to donate to this cause, we will get at least 1,000 to this cause. Multiply by 10 people, like we get committed 10 people, we can speak to our contacts about Mission Love Christmas. I'm in a meeting. Yeah, so that's all I have to say. Ebenezer, can you play the video about Mission Love Christmas 2020?
Okay, please, let's round up so we can transition and go get the weekend started. If are you there? Ebenezer, are you there?
Yes, he's already playing it, but we can't hear the volume. We don't have to play the whole video. If you want to watch the video, you can watch it on YouTube. It's on our YouTube page, so that you see the impact, and then you see some of the people talk to us about the little donation that you give to us to make Mission Christmas possible, how it goes a long way. You know, some of them will some of them actually cry. The manager of Solid FM told me that when they went for Mission Christmas, I think it was 2019, they were mobbed. And some of our volunteers, most of them are on this call as well. They were reduced to tears because they couldn't help some families. The food that they took to the communities were not enough. So that's what we want to make sure that vulnerable people, like people that are struggling, will get food this Christmas. So even if you don't have money to donate, if you have anybody that has excess bag of rice or people giving bag of rice, even if they don't want to give to FACEYOUTH, we can point them to the communities where we think the greatest needs are, because we can't reach every community, like I said, but at least we try our best to reach people. So we want to be able to support people this Christmas. So thank you so much. You can go and watch the YouTube video on, the video of Mission Christmas 2020 on our YouTube page. And for how to help is also on our website. And I think, Ebenezer, can you share the link to the Mission Love Christmas?
Okay, so
also on the chat.
So see what we're gonna do. In the comments section, in participant section, we're gonna drop the YouTube link to find time and go there and watch.
Yes.
And, just spend time and see how you can help. And thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Thank you. We got your email. Chekube, can you get all the emails as well so that we'll send the presentations to you? And if you have any question for Priyanka, you can also email it to us so that we'll forward it to her and we'll make sure that she responds to any question that you have. Thank you so much, Dr. Chudi, for covering Morag's presentation so excellently well on short notice. As we all know, we had Storm Arwen yesterday till this afternoon in Scotland, and a lot of people are without power in Scotland. So unfortunately, Morag was also affected. They still don't have power till now. She's somewhere on holiday in Scotland as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Chude, for holding forth. I'm sure she'll be proud of how you really handled that presentation. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Thank you for everything you do for FACEYOUth. I know you are part of FACEYOUth. You are one of the almost co-founders and board members and advisors at the same time, and we really celebrate and appreciate you for all you do. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, on that note, we're gonna end today's event, and I will leave you with one word. Remember, if we all perish, we perish because we forgot we belong together. We are a community of love. So when you go out there today, love on someone, lift someone up. Don't let it just be only you. Think about other people. The things you're complaining you don't have, you have a lot. Life is a lot. Life is enough. Life is a miracle. So when you leave this gathering today, go to your communities, keep being the light, keep being a good example. Remember to lift someone. Thank you for supporting FACEYOUth. So on that note, I'm gonna call it off. And thank you. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you. See you all. Please look out for look out on our social media sites. We're going to be having a raffle draw as well for Mission Love Christmas. Please participate, and share. There's love in sharing. If you feel this, you're gaining a lot from this seminar, don't be shy to share with your community, with your contacts, with your network. We all have networks, school network and all that, so that we can bring more people. Yeah, that's how we grow. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. So see you in January for the next edition of the Mental Health Awareness Seminar. Yeah. We'll send the communication on time.